Hey friends, happy Wednesday. Today we bring another edition of the Mindful Classroom. Today we're going to work on a visualization meditation, but before we do that, I'm going to share a quick story, a quote, a breathing activity. So we got a lot packed into a short period of time. So I thought we would do a breathing activity and ground into just being here together and being present. So this is something you can do whenever you feel a little bit of stress, any kind of just worry about something, just kind of helps to bring you back into the moment. And it's often called square breathing. So what we're going to do is, and I'll talk through this whole process, we're going to do an in-breath for a 5 count, hold it for a 5 count, an out-breath for a 5 count, and then hold it for a 5 count. And we will repeat that 4 times just to get some practice. So if you just seat yourself comfortably, have your back straight. When you breathe in, you want to breathe into your stomach. And you should feel your stomach. If you put your hands on your stomach, you should feel your stomach expand as you breathe in. And that just helps really fill your lungs, and it's a deeper breath instead of when we get upset. We tend to breathe very shallow up here. And that really, when you look at how it relates to the sympathetic nervous system, it really aggravates our stress and it carries it over. So this is something that helps ground you and takes out some of that stress. So if you plant your feet squarely on the ground, you can close your eyes if you're comfortable with your eyes closed. And take a hand and put it on your stomach so you can feel that movement. And I'm going to count as we do this. So get all the air out of your lungs. And then in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then just breathe, bring your breathing back to normal. And you can do this quietly on your own. I used to suggest to students they could do this before a test, before if you're going into an interview, if you have a big meeting. It's all ways that you can really just in 2 minutes ground your body, calm yourself down, and really kind of get to a center place. So I think the first time we got together, I read you a passage, one of the stories from the Zen monkey and the lotus flower. So I thought I would come back to that today and just kind of give us a little bit of food for thought and a little bit of a place to jump off. This is called The Old Tree and the Clouds, and it is a parable about constancy. In the foothills of the Himalayas stood an old mighty tree. It had sheltered many generations of animals and was a witness to the passing of time. Every day, the tree watched the clouds pass by in the sky. Some were small and fleeting, others large and enormous, and they were constantly changing shape. One day, the tree said to the passing clouds, You are so free and changeable. You can travel wherever the wind takes you. You can transform yourselves into any shape. How beautiful it must be to be so free and changeable. Unlike you, I am bound to this one place and cannot change my form. The clouds heard the words of the tree and answered, You see our freedom and changeability and envy us, but we see your constancy and envy you. You are firmly rooted and strong. You survive the strongest storms, while we are blown to and fro by the wind. You give life and shelter as we pass by, leaving nothing behind. Every existence has its own merits and challenges. The tree heard the words of the clouds and recognized their wisdom. It realized that its constancy and strength were as valuable as the freedom and changeability of the clouds. From then on, it no longer complained about its existence, but appreciated its own role and importance in life. And so the tree lived its life in peace and acceptance, recognizing the beauty of its own existence, and understanding that every form of being, whether fixed and permanent or free and changing, has its own value and purpose. The ancient tree and the clouds taught us the important lesson of permanence and recognition of our own unique experience. And this story reminds us to recognize our own value. It's so easy in our world of constantly comparing ourselves on social media to other people and see how they're doing. It makes it really easy to lose our own value and what we have to offer. And, we don't all have the same skills. And that's a good thing that we don't all have the same skills, because we can all contribute something different to this tapestry of life. If you think of life as a quilt, then we each bring our own square to that quilt. And the quilt wouldn't be complete without each of the squares. And if you take out one square, it weakens the integrity of everything. So I think it's really easy for us to look at our own value. The other thing that it brings up is the idea of consistency and change. I think the old expression, the only constant is change, is very true. And in that, there is some kind of consistency. When things change, when doors close, we always hear the expression that another door opens. But it gives us a chance to reinvent ourselves and to really find who we are and how that role fits into a new world. So instead of fearing change, instead of looking at change as a scary thing, we embrace change. And, it's every time our life undergoes some kind of a deep transformational change, it's that chance for the caterpillar to go into cocoon and emerge a butterfly. And the great thing about human existence is we have a chance to do it over and over. We have so many different stages in our life that we can just come back and find who we are in this stage. And what I have found is in each of the transitions of my life, I've taken something from that previous phase and carried it into this new phase and then developed it and become a stronger person because of it. So, instead of fearing change, instead of fearing what lies in front of us and the fact that, we're all undergoing different stages of our life, we have to look at it as a means to grow and a means to find who we are. So that is that reminder that comes in there. We always look to what somebody else has as so much better than what we have, but we don't see the other attributes to it. And in many ways, we don't see our own best values. And I think that's a good thing to do sometimes. It seems like we're always told not to look at ourselves or to pay it, to dwell on ourselves. But I think it's really important sometimes to jot down what our strengths are. What things do we bring to the table that we can look at? And in doing that, you can take the idea of evolving, and it doesn't mean throwing at your old self. We always look at, we're going to change our habits. I want to lose weight. I want to read more. I want to exercise more, or I want to stop doing this behavior, or I want to stop doing that behavior. And instead, why don't we look at, this is something I do well, and I want to do it better. I want to work. I want to work on this skill and develop this skill, whatever that may be. So, I write a little bit now. I really want to throw myself into that and write more and do a better job of that. Or, I've been developing my meditation practice, and I'm meditating for 5 or 10 minutes a day. Let me see if I can make that 15 minutes a couple of the times. Maybe 5 or 10 most days, but when I have that little bit of extra time, I'll make it 15 or I'll make it 20. But instead of just always trying to completely reinvent ourselves, look at those aspects that really work well and how we can utilize those. So I also like that story because in some ways it was a nature story, and today's meditation is adapted from Jon Kabat-Zinn. Jon Kabat-Zinn was really one of the first and foremost people to take meditation as a Buddhist practice and strip away any of the religious overtones to it and bring in this concept of mindfulness, and in that sense use it as a means of therapy and treatment and helping ourselves. So this is called a mountain meditation, and it's going to be a visualization. So as we go through this, we've worked on following our breath, we've worked on body scans, I think we've worked on some sounds too. This time we're going to look at being able to see images in front of us. So normally this is done in a seated position. You can either be on the floor or you can sit in a chair, whatever's most comfortable for you. But the idea on this one is you don't want to lie down because you want to find that stability and poise in your upper body that's balanced over your hips and shoulders. You want to be comfortable and you want to be in an alert position. And it's going to come in, you'll see why when we get into this visualization. So if you can do that, if you can get yourselves in that position, close your eyes if you're comfortable with your eyes closed. If you're uncomfortable with your eyes closed, just pick a spot in front of you. Gaze softly at the floor. Don't focus on anything. Take a deep breath in and then let it out. And then let your breathing come to normal. Bring awareness to your breath. Look at the actual physical sensations of your breath. Try to feel each breath as it comes in and it goes out. But don't try to control your breath. Just let it be without changing it or regulating it. Allow it to flow easily, naturally, with its own rhythm and pace. And you're knowing now that you're breathing perfectly well right now. There's nothing for you to do. Allowing the body to be still and sitting with a sense of dignity. You have a sense of resolve, a sense of being complete and whole in this very moment, with your posture reflecting this sense of wholeness. And we're going to sit with this for about 40 seconds. As you sit here, let an image form in your mind. Picture the most magnificent and beautiful mountain you know or you have ever seen or you can imagine. Let it gradually come into greater focus. And even if you don't come up with a strong visual image, allow this sense of this mountain, feeling its overall shape, its lofty peak or peaks high in the sky, the large base rooted in the bedrock of the earth, its steep or gentle sloping sides. Pay attention to how massive it is, how solid, how unmoving, how beautiful, whether from far or up close. Perhaps the mountain you're imagining has snow blanketing its tops and trees reaching from the top down to the base. Or maybe it has rugged, slick granite sides. Maybe you can picture streams or waterfalls that are cascading down the slopes. Maybe your mountain has one peak, or it's a series of peaks. Maybe you see meadows or high lakes. But whatever you see, it's your mountain. There's no wrong mountain. Imagine that strong, powerful, immense mountain in your mind. Observing it, noting its qualities, and when you feel ready, see if you can bring that mountain into your own body, sitting here so that your body and the mountain in your mind's eye become one, so that as you sit here, you share in the massiveness and stillness and the majesty of the mountain. You become the mountain. Grounded in this sitting posture, your head becomes the lofty peak, and it's supported by the rest of the body, and it's affording a panoramic view. Your shoulders and arms, the sides of the mountain, your buttocks and legs, the solid base that are rooted to the cushion of your chair. Experiencing in your body a sense of uplift from deep within your pelvis and spine. With each breath, as you continue sitting, becoming a little more of a breathing mountain, alive and vital, yet unwavering in all your stillness, completely what you are, beyond words and thoughts, a centered, grounded, unmoving presence. As you sit here, become aware of the fact that as the sun travels across the sky, the light and shadows and colors are changing virtually moment by moment. In this mountain stillness, and the surface teems with life and activity. Streams, melting snow, waterfalls, plants, and wildlife. As the mountain sits, seeing and feeling how night follows day and day follows night, that bright warming sun followed by the cool night sky studded with stars, and that gradual dawning of a new day. Through it all, the mountain just sits, experiencing change in each moment, constantly changing, yet always just being itself. It remains still as the seasons flow into one another, and as the weather changes, moment by moment, and day by day, calmness abiding all change. In summer, there's no snow on the mountain, except perhaps for the very peaks or in the crags that are shielded from direct sunlight. In the fall, the mountain may wear a coat of brilliant fire colors as the leaves change and shine a hue of color. And in winter, a blanket of snow and ice covers everything. That winter silence of white snow. In any season, it may find itself at times enshrouded in clouds, or fog, or pelted by freezing rain. People may come to see the mountain and comment on how beautiful it is, or how it's not a good day to see the mountain. It's too cloudy, or rainy, or foggy, or dark. None of this matters to the mountain, which remains at all times its essential self. Clouds may come and clouds may go. Tourists may like it or not. The mountain's magnificence and beauty are not changed one bit by whether people see it or not, seen or unseen. In sun or clouds, boiling hot or frigid cold, day or night, it just sits, being itself. At times visited by violent storms, buffeted by snow and rain and winds of unthinkable magnitude. Through it all, the mountain sits. Spring comes, trees leaf out, flowers bloom in the high meadows and slopes. Birds sing in the trees once again. Streams overflow with the waters of the melting snow. Through it all, the mountain continues to sit, unmoved by the weather, by what happens on its surface, by the world of appearances, remaining its essential self through the seasons, the changing weather, the activity ebbing and flowing on its surface. In the same way we sit in meditation, we can learn to experience the mountain. We can embody that same central, unwavering stillness and groundedness in the face of everything that changes in our own lives, over seconds, over hours, over years. In our lives and in our meditation practice, we experience constantly the changing nature of mind and body and of the outer world. We have our own periods of light and darkness, activity and inactivity, our moments of color and our moments of drabness. It's true that we experience storms of varying intensity and violence in the outer world and in our own minds and bodies. Buffeted by high winds, by cold rain, we endure periods of darkness and pain, as well as moments of joy and uplift. Even our own appearance changes constantly, experiencing a weather of our own. By becoming the mountain in our meditation practice, we can link up with its strength and stability and adopt them for our own. We can use its energies to support our energy, to encounter each moment with mindfulness and equanimity and clarity. It may help us to see that our thoughts and feelings, our preoccupations, our emotional storms and crises, even the things that happen to us, are very much like the weather on the mountain. We tend to take it all personally, but its strongest characteristic is impersonal. The weather of our own lives is not to be ignored or denied. It's to be encountered, honored, felt, known for what it is, and held in awareness. And in holding it in this way, we come to know a deeper silence and stillness and wisness. Mountains have this to teach us, and so much more if we let it in. So if you find you resonate in some way with the strength and stability of the mountain in your sitting, you may find it useful from time to time in your meditation practice to remind you of what it means to sit mindfully with resolve and with wakefulness in true stillness. So in the time that remains, we're going to sit for a minute quietly, sustaining the mountain meditation of your own. So sit now in silence, moment by moment, until you hear the sound of the bell to come back together. Thank you for sitting with that meditation with me. I'm leaving us with a thought today that comes from Haruki Murakami's book, Kafka on the Shore. It was a book I assigned for summer reading for many years, and always had students who were moved and really impacted by what they came across. But this thought, I think, is a beautiful thought for our day. But if you knew you might not be able to see it again tomorrow, everything would suddenly become special and precious, wouldn't it? So as you go out today, try to look on things as if you're seeing them for the first time and as if you may never see them again. Have a beautiful day. I look forward to meeting again with you all on Friday. Friday we'll talk about some poetry and some books I'm currently reading. Please leave some comments if there's anything you'd like. Let me know what works and doesn't work. But until then, continue to be grateful, my friends.